Welcome to We Talk English, your favorite English podcast. We're excited to have you with us today. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected for regular English learning podcasts. Let's get started.
All right, everybody, welcome back. You're ready to do another deep dive.
Always ready to dive in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Today, we're tackling Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah,
It's hot.
a hot topic.
It is a hot topic right now, and I think it's time.
It's been a while since we talked about it.
It has been a while, and especially with it going over $100,000 again.
Yeah, we can't ignore that.
You cannot ignore that.
It demands attention.
Right, that's right.
At least a deep dive.
That's what we do here.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at this article that we found called Bitcoin Breaks $100. A wild ride through crypto history.
What a title.
Right.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
It does. It sums it up. So let's get right into it, I think.
Yeah. Let's start at the beginning.
Let's start at the beginning. I think everyone who's listening to this probably knows what Bitcoin is, so we don't have to get into like the nitty-gritty of like the blockchain and all of that. But
I think that's fair. Yeah.
But I think, we should talk about Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yes, the mysterious creator.
The mysterious creator, right?
Still to this day, we don't know who it is.
Still to this day.
A person, a group.
An AI.
Right, or an AI.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But they dropped this white paper, this sort of like blueprint for what Bitcoin is.
Right, in 2008.
2008. And it kind of like took the world by storm.
Yeah.
At least the tech world.
And it was like this whole idea of a decentralized currency.
Right, like cutting out the middleman, cutting out the banks, cutting out government.
Peer-to-peer.
Just peer-to-peer, exactly. And a lot of people thought, like, there's no way this could actually work.
Yeah, like, is this actually going to be something, or is it just, going to be some,
A flash in the pan.
Yeah, a flash in the pan.
A little blip on the radar.
Exactly. And then a couple years later.
Enter Laszlo.
Laszlo Hanyecz.
Hanyecz orders 2 pizzas.
With Bitcoin.
Pays for it with Bitcoin.
Like 10,000 Bitcoin or something, right?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, back then, Bitcoin wasn't worth
anything.
Anything, really. So those pizzas, I think, are worth like millions now or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But that
was a pivotal moment.
Yeah, it was a turning point because it was like, oh, wow, people are actually using this to buy real world things.
Like a real transaction.
A real transaction. This isn't just theoretical anymore.
Right.
So that kind of like set the stage for what was to come.
Yeah, and then, fast forward, little over a decade.
2021.
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Says, you know what? We're going all in.
We're going all in. Bitcoin is legal tender here.
Yeah, President Bukele put his whole, political career on the line with this.
Yeah, he's like a millennial, right?
He is, yeah, and a big Bitcoin believer.
Big believer.
Thinks it's the future of finance.
Yeah, and thinking about it, like El Salvador, their currency was the US dollar.
Right, they've been dollarized for a while.
So it's not that crazy.
Yeah, so it's not like a huge leap to go from like, oh, we're already using someone else's currency, let's use this one.
Use this digital, decentralized one.
And what was his thinking? Like, what was he hoping to gain from this?
Well, I mean, he definitely saw it as like a way to attract foreign investment,
Yeah, right.
Bring money into the country.
Attract tech companies, all these.
Yeah, Silicon Valley types, and, also like boost financial inclusion because a lot of people in El Salvador don't have access to traditional banking.
Right.
So this was kind of like a way to give them access to financial services.
Oh, like almost leapfrogging like traditional banking going right to.
Yeah, exactly. And it worked to some extent. Like, a lot of people downloaded the government's Bitcoin wallet and started using it.
But it wasn't without its problems, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was pushback.
Big pushback from like the IMF, from citizens who didn't understand it, didn't want to use it. Volatility, of course, like Bitcoin, it goes up, it goes down. It can be really scary for people who are, especially if it's like the money that you use to buy groceries.
Exactly.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, and then there's the whole like environmental impact of Bitcoin mining.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a whole other can of worms.
We could do a whole deep dive on that.
We could. It's a very energy intensive process.
And speaking of energy intensive, remember what happened in Kazakhstan?
Oh, yeah.
They were like, we're going to be
the Bitcoin mining capital of the world. And then they had all these like blackouts and had to start restricting.
Yeah, they couldn't handle it.
They couldn't handle the energy demand.
It's crazy. So El Salvador, kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah. I think it's still too early to tell what the long-term effects will be.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely put Bitcoin on the map even more. but it's also shown like, hey, this is not a simple solution.
There are real-world consequences and challenges
Yeah.
that need to be addressed before it can truly go mainstream.
So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the like human stories that are kind of wrapped up in all of this.
Sure.
So there's this guy, James Howells,
Oh, yes.
who accidentally threw away
A hard drive.
a hard drive with like millions in Bitcoin.
Yeah, sitting in a landfill somewhere.
In a landfill somewhere, and he's been trying to like excavate the landfill.
Yeah, trying to get permission from the city council.
It's crazy.
It's a wild story.
And it really highlights like one of the key things about cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah, your private keys.
Private keys.
That's like the most important thing.
It's like the key to your vault.
Exactly. If you lose them, you've lost your Bitcoin.
And there's no getting it back.
There's no customer service. You can't call up and say, hey, I lost my keys.
Right.
Can you reset my password?
Can you reset my password? Nope.
Not going to happen.
So that's like a very important lesson for anyone who's like thinking about getting into crypto.
Absolutely.
Like really understand what you're doing, understand how to store your keys securely.
Yeah. Do your research. Don't just jump in because you heard someone on Twitter say it's going to make you a millionaire.
Right, exactly. And then on the flip side of that, there's the story of Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX.
Oh, yeah. The poster child for what can go wrong.
Right.
In the crypto world.
This is the cautionary tale.
Yeah. I mean, it really shook the industry. I think it eroded a lot of trust because here was this guy who was like, you know, the golden boy of crypto.
On the cover of magazines.
Yeah, on the cover of magazines, testifying before Congress.
Yeah?
And then it all just kind of imploded.
It imploded overnight.
Overnight, yeah. And it really showed like the need for more regulation.
More transparency.
More transparency in this space.
Because it really was like the Wild West for a while there.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's why we're seeing more and more institutional adoption now, because institutions, they want that stability.
Right.
They want that regulation. They want to know that the rules are clear.
Yeah, they don't want to be,
Yeah.
you know, dealing with the next FTX.
Exactly. So we're seeing like major financial institutions investing in Bitcoin now. BlackRock, Fidelity, all these big names.
And Bitcoin ETFs.
Bitcoin ETFs. Yeah, making it easier for regular investors to get exposure.
So it seems like things are kind of maturing a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely moving in that direction, but it's still early days.
Still early days.
I mean, who knows what the future holds, but it's definitely going to be interesting.
It is. It's been a wild ride so far.
Yeah, from pizza to
El Salvador.
to hard drives and landfills.
To institutional adoption.
It's been quite the journey.
It has, and it's only just begun.
Yeah, I mean, we're just scratching the surface here.
That's right. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you're thinking about getting into crypto,
Do your research.
do your research,
Understand the risks.
understand the rewards,
Yeah, there's potential for huge gains.
but also potential for huge losses.
Exactly. So don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
That's right. That's always the golden rule.
Golden rule of investing.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, as always. And all our listeners out there, stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be diving into another fascinating topic.
Can't wait.
See you then.
And again, thanks for joining us on We Talk English.